Hello, are you Tabor?
I am.
Hi, Tabor. My name's Katie. I really want to thank you for being okay with doing telehealth today. With everything that's going on in the world with the COVID-19, I know you probably expected to be able to come into the office. So I really, really appreciate that you were comfortable doing this with me today. And that way we can get you into services faster.
You're welcome.
Okay. Um, So I just want you to know, are you in an area currently where people can hear you or see you?
Do my dogs count?
Probably not. I just want to make sure you're, like not at a Starbucks or something like that where people can hear your personal information.
Oh, no, no, no. I'm home.
Okay, so I want you to know that I am in my house office and there's no one even in the apartment. No one can hear you, no one can see you. So everything that we talk about here is confidential as long as you don't say something becomes unconfidential if you talk about harming others, harming yourself, or instances of child abuse.
Okay.
So, is this your first time doing an intake or therapy or anything like that?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is.
Okay. Well, thank you again for being willing to do it, over telehealth. I think that's really strong and brave of you. So, um, what I saw from the referral is that you were referred here by probation. Is that true?
Yeah.
Okay. So in my experience, there's always like what's on the referral, and then there's, the person that they're talking about side of the story. So even though I read the referral, I'd like to hear it from you. What exactly happened?
Right, right, right. Um, so I guess it was like a few months ago. I guess maybe around January. I was just driving, and supposedly the cop said that I was speeding, and I guess I must have like crossed over the yellow line. I
Oh,
don't know.
okay.
I feel like that all kind of happens every once in a while, so
Hmm.
it was whatever, I guess. But he must have suspected that I was suspicious, and he went through my car and found some just drugs I had in there from the night before.
Okay. And then, so what were the drugs that were in your car that were found?
It's kind of like a mixture. It had a little bit of marijuana and some LSD.
Okay. So, because of what your referral said, and then you basically said what's on the referral. So, it sounds like they're pretty much, there isn't any discrepancy between the two stories. I think what we're going to do for the first part of our intake today is go over what's called the DAST. The DAST is 10 questions, and some of them may seem silly to you, some of them may not apply to you, but we're just going to work through them together. And that way we can kind of see what sort of treatment we would recommend for you. Does that sound okay with you?
Yep, let's do it.
All right. So, our first question is, have you ever used drugs other than those required for medical reasons?
Other than medical reasons, I don't know. I get like migraines sometimes with, the marijuana kind of helps
Okay.
sometimes.
So, was the
LSD is just fun.
okay? So, were you prescribed marijuana or LSD by a doctor?
I mean, I prescribe myself,
Okay.
but technically no.
Okay. So, I'm gonna probably say yes that you did other than medical reasons, just because they're illegal and not prescribed by a doctor.
Oh, okay, okay.
So, I'm just telling you my rationale as to what I'm putting.
Okay.
And you also, so do you use like marijuana and LSD at the same time sometimes?
I guess it depends on the night. I
Okay.
don't do it every time like that, but
Okay.
I guess it depends on how I'm feeling. Do I have a migraine? Do I kind of want to go on a trip? I don't know. Just depends on the night.
Okay. So I'm going to put yes for that one as well. So that was, do you abuse more than one drug at a time? So maybe not all the time, but sometimes you do.
Yeah, I guess.
Okay. So have you ever tried to stop using LSD or marijuana and really struggled doing so?
About a year ago, I guess, kind of. My family got kind of weird and funky about me kind of doing this sometimes every once in a while. And I was just kind of annoyed and frustrated. But I mean, they're my family, so I was like, I'll give it a shot. But I don't know. After a while, I was like, rather not. And I just did it again.
Okay. So you were able to stop on your own, it sounds like. It's
Maybe like a
just
day.
okay. So maintaining it for more than a day wasn't really super possible for you.
Yeah, I just didn't. I don't know. My motivation just wasn't like very high.
Okay. Um, so have you ever had blackouts? So blackouts maybe would be a little bit more with marijuana or flashbacks. And you can have flashbacks with LSD or marijuana, but mostly with LSD.
Um, the only time that maybe I kind of get that specifically is when I mix them.
Oh,
But
okay.
other than that, if it's by itself, I don't really notice
Is that
anything. It's pretty smooth ride.
so is that the blackouts or the flashbacks?
I think I black out a little bit, and like some parts are like fuzzy,
Okay.
and then yeah, I get some flashbacks sometimes
Okay.
later on.
So, how were your experiences with flashbacks? Do those ever kind of get in the way of your everyday life?
Yeah, I mean, yes and no. Kind of depends on where I'm at when I get like the flashback or something. Like sometimes it can be kind of like overwhelming, and I just like don't want to deal with it. But then other times it's kind of I don't know. It's not that big of a deal.
Okay. So have you ever felt, well, from what you said earlier, you said that you were kind of getting some flack from your family about your substance use. So did you ever feel kind of like bad about yourself or guilty about using substances?
I guess ever since the year ago, whenever my family found out,
Mm-hmm.
I felt I would call it like I feel bad for using the drugs, but I feel bad for using the drugs and my family like watching it. Like I
Oh,
kind of wish they
okay.
just never found out. So I
Yeah.
do feel like a little guilty over the situation because I mean, I never really wanted things to end up this way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's really very insightful for you to be able to kind of verbalize that to me, especially because this is the first time we've ever talked. So I think, I said that I think that you're pretty strong at the beginning, and I think, you're also very insightful about how you feel.
Thanks.
Is that something that you kind of feel about yourself?
I guess when you put it on the table, I mean, I don't think I recognize that really, like on my own, but pointing it out, yeah, I guess I do kind of understand like how I feel and, I recognize like my thoughts and like if I feel guilty and whatnot. Like
Okay.
that doesn't just go away no matter what I do.
Right. So your parents kind of complained about your use of drugs, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So have you ever kind of missed important events or neglected maybe like a sibling or a child or a dog or pets or anything like that because of using LSD or marijuana?
Um, I guess I wouldn't say anything like crazy important. Like I missed a few birthdays, but I mean, it just kind of happened. The only like big thing like I regret like missing um, was like I think like last year, and that's kind of what all came out was like my grandparents' anniversary. I was just kind of stressed because like the whole family was gonna be
Mm-hmm.
there, so I just kind of wanted to like take some LSD and just forget about it. But then like hours later, I was like, oh, oops, missed it.
Yeah.
So
So events like that are kind of maybe overwhelming for you.
yeah, I don't like being around like all my family because I mean I don't like the stress that they put on me and
Yeah. So have you ever engaged in illegal activities in order to get marijuana or LSD? And I'm going to say besides purchasing it, because purchasing it is, technically illegal, but have you ever like sold drugs yourself to get money for it or stolen, robbed a car?
um no, I mean, only other thing, like I gave it to my like friend one time, but like it really wasn't for like money. I was just kind of being a friend, like here, like take some. So I don't know if you call that illegal or what, but
Okay. So I put no for that one. I think that Although I guess driving, if you were under the influence, would be something that would be hazardous. I don't think it was in order to obtain drugs, was it?
No, I mean, I guess when you put it like that, I didn't really mention it before, but yeah, when they caught me here in January, I was a little high. But
Okay. Okay. Do you think that's why they kind of searched your car?
I don't know. They said I was like swerving, but I'm a good driver. I think I was doing just fine. But they're always out there like looking for people to pull over.
Okay. Um, so have you ever experienced withdrawal symptoms or felt sick when you stopped taking LSD or marijuana?
I don't really like feel sick. I just kind of feel like migraines, and I feel like almost a little numb,
Okay.
if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't like really feel anything. I think that's why sometimes I take the LSD because like it helps me
Okay.
just feel sometimes.
Yeah, so maybe you have like emotional withdrawals, but you don't have like the shakes or seizures or anything you'd have to go to like a doctor about.
No, thank God. I haven't got
Okay.
to that. I don't want that. I don't want no part of that.
Okay. So have you ever had any sort of medical issues? So memory loss, sometimes people, like I said, have seizures, convulsions, bleeding, any sort of injuries while you were using substances.
I guess I blacked out like a little bit sometimes if I'm like taking like a lot of LSD in one night. So I mean that could be like some memory stuff, but not like consistently. The only injury I had, so there was this one time we were just kind of like smoking it and like taking the pills and whatnot, and we went to like my old elementary school, and they got those like really fun like monkey bars and merry-go-rounds. So I was tripping on LSD, and I got on the monkey bars and the merry-go-round, and they just like spun me around.
Mm-hmm.
I fell off,
Oh.
but I hurt my wrist a little bit.
Yeah.
And I had to go to the doctor the next day because it was pretty like swollen and sprained, but I was okay. It was fun.
Okay.
It was worth it.
Well, I'm glad you're okay. So looking at this, I'm going to mark that as a yes, probably just because you hurt your wrist and you had to go to a doctor for it. So looking at this, I'm just going to total up all the yeses, and it looks like 8. So you have an 8, and that is at the very top of what they consider substantial levels of problems related to drug abuse. So there's a few different ones. There's no problems, low level, moderate level, substantial, and severe. So you're at the top tier of substantial, so you're very close from going from substantial to severe. So I'm actually very happy that you're talking to me today, because I think that you potentially, if you don't work with me through a couple of things, I think that maybe it would get to a more severe level where it was really impacting your life or your work life.
Right. Yeah, I guess.
So tell me how it kind of feels looking at that or hearing that score.
Well, I will say I've never gotten an A+ on a test, but I'm not proud of this one.
Well, you didn't quite get an A+, but
Oh,
I'm glad.
A-, never got an A.
Yeah, you got an A-, and I think in this sense, an A+ would probably be, not so good.
Right. Yep, I understand that. A little embarrassing to get that. I guess I didn't really realize it was kind of a thing in my life. I mean, I just kind of did it for the last couple of years. It's just been kind of like a fun thing. Mm-hmm. But I mean, it did suck getting pulled over and getting caught with it. Yeah. Then it was like, oh God, this is real.
Yeah. So if I put up a scale from 1 to 10, so this is 10 and this is 1, where do you think you would fall? 10 being the most motivated to stop using, 1 being the least motivated to stop using.
6.
Okay. That's a pretty high number. So why are you a 6 and not a 3?
I think like maybe when I first walked in here, it was probably a 3 because I don't really see the problem with it. But kind of going over these and, to be honest, getting such a high score on this just kind of made me realize like maybe this has turned into a bigger problem than it was intended to be. And maybe I have been doing this longer than I was supposed to be. So I don't know. I mean, it's fun and all. So that's why I think a 6.
I think, again, that's really insightful, and I really want to commend you on that. So, what do you think it will take to get from this 6 and go up to maybe like an 8?
I think for me, it's hard to deal with people daily,
Yeah.
and it's hard to, like I take LSD to deal with my thoughts, but it's like deal with thoughts like alone. I don't want to deal with my thoughts like in public, and I don't know. It
Hmm.
kind of helps me like drown out the public, but like focus on myself. So I think just I don't know. I guess getting used to the life.
Yeah. So, I'm kind of hearing that you struggle with, like I asked before, struggle with big occasions, lots of people. So, when you first kind of came in, you were talking about how it's not a big deal. But it seems like throughout even just this assessment, you've progressed to the idea that, maybe this is something that might impact my life. And you said that you're at a 6, and you're at a 6 and not a 3 because of the score you got partially, and then also, getting pulled over and the consequences you faced. And you said that you think from a 6 to an 8, maybe you will need to work with me on some different skills. So, how to,
Hmm.
maintain or feel the way you feel in public in a way that isn't, so burdensome for you.
Yeah, and I agree. I think you kind of just like took the words right out of my mouth. So yeah.
Well, I think honestly, part of that is because you're so insightful. I think you're really able to evaluate yourself. And I think that, working together like this, we're going to be able to reach your goals.
Yeah, I think that sounds like a good plan. Just
Okay. Well, so we'll finish up the assessment on another day, but I want to thank you so much. And you have our crisis number. You also have my extension to call if anything comes up. But for now, I just want to thank you so much. And I will call you at our next scheduled appointment.
okay. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.